this is Paul Bostaph. Just finished up my session with George Anderson's From Hell. Actually, doing the record From Hell with George was really interesting because George has been working on this material for years, and his this strong vision of the story he's trying to tell translates into a good horror movie or a really good good novel. If you're into that kind of thing, and hanging around with George and doing the rehearsal for the record was pretty cool because not only were we getting to know the material, there was intent to everything. Like some of the songs at first as I was learning them seemed a little repetitive, but there was an intent to everything, and the only way I was really able to kind of help convey the story from my end of things on the drums was to kind of get into George's brain a little bit about what he was trying to achieve. And George was really forthcoming with all that type of information. And you know, some people have an idea of what they want to do for a story and don't tell very good stories, but George did a really good job with the music and wrote some really good riffs, and it's pretty cool. It's like you know, it's kind of fun. It's been a really fun process because each song tells a part of the story, as any good record would, in terms of telling a story. But George did a great job with it.
This is Damien from Death Angel. I'm in the studio with From Hell featuring George Anderson, Steve Smythe, and Paul Bostaph. The album's going to feature a lot of metal, a little black metal, a little death metal, a little prog metal. Check it out.
Working with Paul Bostaph in the studio. Paul Bostaph of Slayer, Paul Bostaph. So playing with him definitely pushes the level of the musicianship. Like, you know, he's a talented drummer. He's playing a lot of 16th double bass. So right away, like, I know that I'm not gonna be able to like get away with like just grooving some notes. Like I'm gonna have to be, you know, from the bass standpoint. So that really pushes like what I'm having to do.
The influences that I perceived right away when I started listening to George's material and rehearsing with George, it was definitely like horror movies and like movie soundtrack, like, you know, sci-fi movie soundtracks or horror movie soundtracks, which we started talking about. Like I like a lot of Danny Elfman stuff, and I think George even told me himself that he at night he'll go to sleep to movie soundtracks, which I think is pretty cool. So it was definitely George is really into Merciful Fate, you know, like so that kind of the King Diamond Merciful Fate thing, and I'm a big Mickey D fan. All those things between the horror movies, between the telling of the story, between I've never really done a concept record before, so it's really like the first concept record I've done ever. So it was interesting with knowing all that stuff, that there had to be, other than it just being one song, another song, another song, that, you know, there was always a feeling that we were telling a story.
George had already been jamming with some dudes. So when we came in, he had bass and drums and stuff already on a CD and the songs and the tuning. So then it was just a matter of learning the songs, which was relatively simple. I just got together with George 3 or 4 times to learn the riffs and then jammed it out in my own place, which is usually the kind of the easiest way to do it. And then from there, once Paul came in, did like 2 or 3 rehearsals, just making sure, it was really just kind of cushion him getting used to the songs, and then it was recording.
How I feel about being involved with Damien and Steve Smythe in a project together, I think it's pretty interesting. And for only unfortunate fact, we all haven't been in the room at the same time playing together with the material, or even being in a recording studio. We're all, since you know, Damien's doing the Death Angel thing right now, they're writing a record. Steve Smythe has his own project in England he's putting together, and, you know, I just happen to be in the Bay Area, and so does George. We're kind of, everything's kind of happening, like, you know, in bits and pieces apart from each other. I think it's going to be pretty exciting to hear when it's finally all put together. I mean, Damien, we just finished the drums tonight, so I'm loopy as hell, but now Damien's going to come in and do bass, which I think is going to be great because, you know, we've rehearsed a few times together with George, me and Damien, and it's been really cool. Like I said, unfortunately Steve hasn't been around for that part of the process, but it's kind of hard to commute back and forth from England every day. So I think it's great. I'm excited to hear what it's finally going to sound like all put together.
The sound I really hear in this project is kind of a combination of like Dead Heart in a Dead World, Nevermore, with like some kind of conspiracy or them, King Diamond, which is kind of a weird merge because it's like new metal or whatever, prog metal, prog metal, power metal with King Diamond. But I do hear like kind of the Nevermore, the lowness, and that really, just like that really strong, pulsing, assaulting sound, you know, I think it. So a big difference in the project that I'm doing here, From Hell, which, you know, it's definitely pushing the limits of being just metal. It's almost on the edge of being death metal, but still has the songwriter element, verse, choruses, and things like that. So, you know, one of the big things that's different is it's not thrash metal. Thrash metal, I feel like, really, I feel like all those bass players were finger bass players, you know, like Cliff Burton, Ray Christian, like Frankie from Anthrax, he's another fingers player. Well, not Dave Ellefson, not Tom. But anyways, I feel like the Bay Area thrash, those guys were like really fingers players, and that is a huge part of the thrash sound. So on a project like this, there's times where like I kind of had to like put that aside, and I actually did grab a pick, you know, and I had to like kind of like, for me, what I started thinking of is more like the harder side of Faith No More or Billy Gould would like get the pick in there and really start like getting a helicopter going on his bass for some of the heavier parts in like Malpractice and stuff on Faith No More second album with Mike Patton. On the Faith No More album, you know, Angel Dust, like Billy Gould gets the pick and really kind of gets that helicopter sound. So in an element like this, where it really kind of going for that, I thought, you know, fuck it, you know, I'm gonna grab a plectrum too and really get in there and rip away, kind of shred down on the string, and I think it helped achieve a sound that, you know, as much as I'm a fan of the Fingers sound, I think it helped achieve a sound that Fingers can't get. You know, maybe like kind of like Chris Squire, really whamming away with the pick on the string. So, and then with the low tuning, really help you get that fucking growl, you know. So.
Nun With A Gun, motherfucker. What I think people should expect in this record, I think they should expect a really, really good record. I mean, George is putting a lot of time and effort into this. A lot of people will I mean, pardon the phrase, cut corners on things. And George is bringing in a choir for this. I mean, like, he could use keyboards and things like that to emulate choir voices and stuff. George is like doing the extra things, like I said, bringing in a choir in this, like the parts where normally you could just hit notes on keyboard. He's trying to make this, really make his vision come to fruition, and like George is using the best tools possible to make this happen, and I think he's using a lot of organic things, choir, real voices, harpsichord, things like that, you know, as opposed to more fake sound. So I think it's going to make the story a lot more real in terms of, you know, getting the crap scared out.